In this entry, I'm going to talk about constructivism in the classroom. To be more specific, I'm going to talk about Vygotsky and his theories on scaffolding and the zone of proximal development. I'm choosing these two elements of his work because they were what I used predominantly when I was conducting myself in the classroom. Uh, I I did so due to a conversation I had with Abla before my first day when I was actually going to be taking a class. I had a meeting with him, and I told him I was quite nervous because I'd never taught a class before. And I asked him what elements I should use for classroom management and any things I should do, not do. And from that, he was telling me, he asked me if I'd ever heard of scaffolding by Vygotsky, and I was like, yes, of course I have. I've studied it for about 3 years. He was like, just apply that. And given the mindset I was in at the time, it didn't really click with me. I was just like, what does that have to do with me taking a class? So, Abla has a way in his conversations where he can just leave you time to think. So, for about 2 minutes, it was complete silence, and I was just thinking about how scaffolding can play a role in the classroom. And what I did afterwards, I started mentioning, like reinforcement in the form of like humming and nodding, just like, yes, I see what you mean. Yes. So the children develop confidence in saying stuff in front of you. And then Abla went on to tell me more elements, for example, like cooperative learning, where you put stronger children or weaker children and they work together. And as a result, the weaker child tends to be dragged up by the stronger child. Another element I used was feedback. So the children would be presenting to me, and I would use I would like summarize and rephrase what they were saying, just like, is this what you meant? And if it was, they'd be like, yes. If it wasn't, they'd be no. And another element that I used was referential questioning, which is like the who, what, when, where, why questions. So it's like, why did you think that this happened? When did that happen? Where did so and so occur? And this happened in most of the classes I conducted. And last was building on their prior knowledge, seeing what they already knew, and trying just to push them a little bit harder each time. And that was how I used scaffolding within the classroom. And in terms of the zone of proximal development, that's the area between what a child knows and what they don't know. So they need a bit of help to get from A to B. And that's where I came in. If I felt a child was struggling, I'd give them hints. I would aid them in their work. I would ask Denise or Andrea, depending on which teacher was there that day, to help me do the same. And from that, that's how I used Vygotski's work in my everyday classroom activities. So that'll be a theory I think is very prominent and helpful in the classroom.